Okay, it's September 21st, 2024, and I'm speaking with Master John Jeckovich, and this is the second reading of the day. We're reading his book, Their Mother's Sons, and we're on chapter 18. We're on chapter 18, and it's page 527, and it's titled Delwood, Ballroom, and Delphine. So this is when Mr. Jeckovich is meeting his wife Delphine Stulak. So we're kind of cut short the last reading. Tell us when you first met Delphine, she had her friends with her.
Yeah, Rosalie and Agnes.
And tell us how that went. Did you eventually just go with Delphine, or did all three of them always tell you?
Well, not that night. But I told Delphine, you know, how come we're going to stick with these two birds over there? She said, oh yeah, they're my friends, they're my friends.
And so how did it eventually turn out?
Well, I didn't say anything after that, but she got the point.
And then you just end up dating Delphine.
Well, we still went to the Delwood. Yeah. And we still see Agnes and Rosalie.
Did they now?
But they knew when we paired off that we would go by ourselves, and they just either went home or stayed there for a while.
Did you still have to give them a ride home?
Mostly, well, they asked them, they took the damn bus.
So you mostly gave a ride home then, right?
Yeah, I had to drive home.
So did Agnes and Rosie eventually get married? And
no, Agnes was an old maid. Rosie was married to Eddie. The guy knew all about cars.
So did he have a car lot or something?
No, he worked at a factory, I guess.
But he talked about cars all the time.
Yeah.
Was he a mechanic?
No, he couldn't fix cars. He couldn't fix cars.
But he had a lot of general information about cars.
Yeah, compression. Ear was built, stuff made, model was doing, model ear was, all that.
Was Eddie older than you?
Eddie? No, he's probably about a year older or younger.
Was he a World War II vet?
I think he was in a Coast Guard or something.
Okay. So, but he wasn't a combat vet?
No.
Would he have the makeup for a combat vet?
No, he was.
Would he have the makeup of being
personality? No. He get killed 10 minutes out there.
10 minutes out there. So he didn't have what it would take.
Uh-huh.
He didn't have it. So how did they finally pair off? Did Eddie and Agnes finally get married?
Well, Agnes and
Rosalie?
Yeah. They probably got the message.
But they finally got married though, right?
No.
Eddie?
Rosie got married, that guy. But she was sick, and she finally had a child, but the child was sickly too. And he was wearing braces on his foot and everything else.
Did they come visit you once they were married?
Huh?
Once you're both married now, did they come visit you?
Who got married? We got married?
Well, just say when you and Delphine were newlyweds, did Rosalie and Eddie come visit you? Did you?
Yeah, I think they visited. No, I think we met at your house or someplace.
I see. So you stayed in contact with them for a while?
About a year.
And then what happened?
It petered out.
And that was it?
Yeah.
Did Delphine still call her on the phone and talk with her?
No.
No. So that was...
Well, she had other problems now.
I see. Okay. You think the Delwood Ballroom is still open today?
I don't know. That's not popular now.
Let's see. The dances I went to were boring and tedious. I recall going to one at the small YWCA in Buffalo. To reach the small gymnasium they utilized for their dancing, you had to ride to an open caged elevator to the third floor of the building. Open caged elevator? What the hell is that? Open caged elevator.
It's an elevator that sits by itself.
Does it look like a warehouse elevator?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd have to ride an open caged elevator to the third floor of the building. As you enter the gym, you are greeted by 2 rows of people on each side of the room. One side were the men, on the opposite side of equal number, all staring at one another.
Yeah.
That must have been really odd.
Try to pair off.
That must have been really odd. So
I told Delphi, I said, I was with her last year.
Let me just try to visualize this. You're getting into a warehouse opened elevator. They shoot you up to the 3rd floor, and there's a long line of men on one side.
Well, they had a good band there, though. 25-piece band there, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And there's a long line of women on the other side, and they were just staring at each other.
No, they would wander around, drink Coca-Cola, coffee, and all that. They would wander up and down trying to make a connection.
So did you go back there after your first time going there?
When I went there, I didn't make an arrangement with Delphine right off the bat that night. So I said, I'll see her next Saturday. She's there.
Okay.
And well, she was there with Agnes and Rosalie.
The music was from a record player, okay, on a wooden folding chair at the end of the room. It was popular music as Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, etc. But it did not set the mood, and I felt uncomfortable there. I danced with several different girls, and once not keen on any, and I was not keen on any of them. I left shortly thereafter. I drove around Buffalo for a while, passing the building where I received my dance lessons. Was your Arthur Murray dance studio on Main Street?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Second story or first story?
Second story.
I'll be damned. There were stairs, there's no elevator, right? There was no elevator, just stairs, right?
No.
Yeah. I thought of Valerie and times we shared together, but I became nostalgic and a bit despondent as I drove over the Grand Island Bridge. I wonder if I had passed my zenith and was all downhill from now. I had my own life passed me by. 20-something, holy shit. Had my own life passed me by without as that even made you laugh. Had my own life passed me by without as much as a fleeting grasp at some kind of happiness. A family of my own, a loving wife and children to carry on my name.
Well, my mother said, you better get married.
Oh, is that what she said?
Yeah, you better get married. Can't worry about looking.
Was this to be the culmination of it all? No one knew I passed through here. I had been out of the service for several years and could still recall the great deal of delight and enthusiasm, the times I had, and the remarkable people I met and got to know. Was that to be the apex?
Yeah, I had a good time overseas. I had a good time, yeah.
Well, tell us more about it. Let's listen to you.
I was in France,
Yeah, tell us.
Belgium, England. I like England. And I met a lot of people. I met a lot of girls.
Well, tell us more about it. We're listening.
But I said, at the back of my mind, I said, I'm not bringing anybody home with me.
Wow.
I come empty, I'm going home empty.
Why did you say that?
Well, because I didn't want to bring anything home and start a whole problem at home.
So your mother...
And the girls were probable, yeah, they were probable.
Honorable
But
people, yeah.
To me, I would never make a life. Yeah, I either have to stay there or they have to come over and they would kill them. They would kill them.
So your mother would have a big problem with
Yeah, and then the girl would have a big problem too.
it. It'd be a real mess.
She could never adjust.
It'd be a real mess. It'd be a real mess.
So I used to go back for a friendship with that, and then that was it. Knowing that it would be one time it would be ended.
Wow. So tell us about the places you went to. You were at Haverford West in France, and
Belgium.
Parts of Wales, Belgium. Tell us about a little bit.
England, we went to England, France, Belgium.
When you were in Wales, what did you see going overhead all the time?
What?
When you were in Wales visiting Jean, what did you see going over your head all the time?
Jets, Spitfires.
Spitfires.
Fire coming out there, and
They were bombing Germany, right?
yeah, they were bombing the Germans.
It would be the Spitfires bombing during the day, And
The Americans bombed it. No, English bombed at night and the Americans bombed it at the daytime.
So it's 24-hour, 7-day-a-week bombing.
Yeah, bombed the hell out of them, yeah.
There must have been nothing left of Germany.
Yeah.
Is that what you seen was total destruction?
Well, then when we got in there, our buildings were destroyed. All the children were out in the woods, living out in the woods for almost a year now.
Will they make a little hut or something?
Yeah.
When the Germans see the kids living out in the woods, do they help them and give them some food or something?
The Germans?
Yeah.
They weren't that close. I mean, they put those kids out there away from the Germans. The Germans never went around there. I would never put them with explosive German soldiers. They'd be raping the kids.
Yeah, that's a shame. But on the other hand, if it was Americans seeing kids out there, Americans would feed them and take care of them and find some solution to their homelessness, right?
Right,
American soldiers would take care of youngsters.
You mean during the war?
Yeah, American soldiers.
Why would an American soldier be concerned about a family? They got their own problem. They got worried about staying alive.
Okay. But I was just saying that American soldiers were much more friendly than the Nazis. The
Germans were were friendly too to the right people. Yeah.
To the right people.
Yeah.
All right. So how long did you stay in Haverford West for?
Till they moved me out to Belgium.
About how many weeks or months was that?
How many? What?
How many weeks or months did you stay in Haverford West?
I stayed probably 6 months.
Okay, that was interesting. Okay, let me see. Let's see. The dreary, tedious job, I had no satisfaction to me whatsoever. Nor was the drab existence I was living at home any more comforting. I would look back at my army life and say, yes, those were the best times of my life, even though I lived through them with dread and fear of former life.
Yeah, I think they were the best times of my life at my age, yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now I was isolated more than ever before, with nothing to look forward to but a future bleak and forlorn at the present. I would envy Steve when he would come home occasionally for a weekend, unconcerned for anything than not to touch him directly. He would chide for me cynical and negative attitude, never once stopping to understand the situation at home or how it was affecting me. I had become aloof from him as much as I had from Lookie. Neither one wanted to partake of anything regarding home, but they were focused only on their individual goals.
I partaken at home.
Oh, you did, but you're saying Lookie and Steve didn't.
No.
Neither one of them, Lookie or Steve, wanted to partake.
And Steve was the king of his whole. And my father revered him. He was the best. He was the best.
Yeah.
He's the one that got him to Cornell from the guy at work.
Oh, yeah. Okay. After a while, their attitude and behavior did not affect me as much as they once did, as I grew hardened against them and took them as a matter of course. I had been going to various dances at church halls in a nearby Buffalo and found them to be more pleasant and delightful than the drab affairs at the local YWCA. I met some congenial people who were attractive, but nothing took root. After a while, I stopped going as it was becoming a routine and trivial. There were dates with few girls several times, but I always broke it off before we became too attached and serious with one another. I found that most wanted marriage, or certainly of it, and I was not ready to oblige them in that respect. During the interludes that I was not going to church dances, I would just hang out about the area, drive around, take in a movie, or just waste time doing nothing in particular with no objective in mind. Mother liked these periods as I was readily available for anything she wanted. She also felt secure in knowledge that I would be around for a while, with nothing threatening the hold she had over me. She would become condescending and at the same time effusive in appreciation of my feeling toward her, which would annoy me to no end. I had progressed to the senior chain at work and reached a responsible job with my department. Not that I was achieved position through compensatory privilege, on the contrary, is strictly seniority achieved. I did not cater to any of the lower level echelon, as I was certainly not in with the established crowd. I did what was expected of me, and I did it in a manner as I did most things, to the best of my ability. I would admit, though, that I was the best of the lot, and management was aware of it, despite my independent nature. One day on my day shift, I was approached by the mill manager, Bob Greenwald. Do you remember Bob Greenwald?
Yeah.
What kind of person was he?
He was second, third rate management guy in the Kimberley.
Was he a good guy?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. I met the mill manager, Bob Greenwald, who asked about assist him in a startup project in Wisconsin. I was told I was to be a new mill. It was to be a new mill with several paper machines and equipment to support them. He wanted a definite answer in a week.
Oh, he wanted me to go to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Start that mill.
Did you ever go?
No.
So did you give him the answer in a week?
Huh?
Did you give him your answer in 1 week?
Well, I told him the next day, I said, I'm not going anywhere. I got responsibilities at home.
12 minutes.
Okay.
And those guys that work in their native country or native state, I'm going to go and take over.
Yeah.
They'll be pissing on my grave.
Okay, here we go. A little bit something else here. My first thought with it was that I would be released from my family responsibilities and start life of my own. I liked that very much at first inclination, but was to accept if I was to accept the offer. By the end of the second day, my thoughts became centered once again about my duties and obligations at home. My primary concern was Mother and how she would react to me leaving. It would be traumatic for her, and it would be a very large emotional abyss in her life, which she would never fully recover from. She would be dejected and abandoned, with only Sally to fall back on. All of her sense and perturbedness would come rushing back to the forefront once again. I did not tell her any of this as my decision to make. I knew how she would react. She'd become mad and insist that she did not need anyone to take care of her, at least of all me, and demand I leave and never bother her again.
Oh.
Your mother says if you told her this, that you're going to Wisconsin, she would say, demand that I leave and never bother me again. She would say this if you told her you were leaving, but you never told her.
I told her I was leaving?
No, you never told her.
No.
But you were just giving a hypothetical what your mother would have said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Despite her vehement objections to staying, I knew that it was all window dressing to mask her emotional feelings, which were a rejection of fear and loneliness. She knew Sally would not stay for long, and Looky was foregone conclusion. He could leave at any time. So I said nothing, and I knew my mind was made up for me already. I was confronted, as always, by someone else's interest, superseding my own self-interest. On my last day of shift...
I was concerned about my mother. My father died at 43. She was a widower.
Exactly.
and she was living alone.
And you
If
did,
I left, there would be nobody there.
and you did the right thing. And you did the right thing. Let's see. On my last day of shift work that week, I informed Bob of my decision, and he expressed regret, and I would not accompany him to Wisconsin.
Who was this?
You told Bob you couldn't go to Wisconsin.
For a job?
Yeah, you said you could. You told Bob
Yeah.
you couldn't go.
No, they offered me a job there too. And I was thinking about it. What I did, I got my locker room, wrapped my towels up, my work clothes, got out, and never went back.
Oh wow.
I said, the hell with them all.
Oh wow. That is an amazing story. You just,
I didn't like the management crowd, and I didn't like the working experience. And that would be bad for me go there as management when I worked there for 10 years with those guys.
yeah, yeah,
I'd be fighting them all the time.
yeah, yeah.
So I said, the hell with them.
I can see that Bob was disappointed and a little bit perplexed by my answer. I gave no reason for not going, and he did not ask. Several weeks later, he left, and I never saw Bob again.
Yeah.
I did not think of it as a big event or a consequential decision on my part. I acted on it as I reacted to anything that concerned me directly. I would think of my self-interest last and base my reasoning on how it would affect the people near me, and that would be the final assessment. In a way, I realized that I was reacting in almost conditioned reflex fashion, but accepted it even though I was passing up another opportunity to better myself and escape from the present situation.
8.
What was the present situation?
I'll read it again, and let me see if I can find it. In a way, I realized I was reacting in almost a conditional reflex fashion, but accepted it, even though I knew you're passing up an opportunity to better myself in Wisconsin. And
What, with Kimberly?
yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of that. I never thought.
This is your sentence. Maybe it's
I was just imagining that. Yeah, I was hypothetical.
This was your sentence. In a way, I realized I was reacting in almost a conditioned reflex fashion, but accepted it, even though I knew I was passing up another opportunity to better myself, and escape my present situation. I did not procrastinate over the prospect of what would have happened. Had the offer been made to me a year earlier, when Rose wanted me to leave to start a new life, it was exactly a year to date when Bob approached me.
I wouldn't have done it then either.
You wouldn't have done it then either.
Yeah,
right? What would I have said if Rose was still in the picture? I thought about it at length and came to the conclusion I would have done the same thing, not go.
Yeah. Rose was a Bill wife family. Her father worked there. I worked there. She said, I go 3 stages on that. I knew that. And she said, you better get yourself another job because you're wasting your time here. He said, you're different than the other people here. I said, well, what am I, black and they're white?
You're a funny man.
Huh?
You're funny. Carrying it a bit further, and to Greenwich's extreme, what would I have done if Renee or Jean or Ann were involved? I can say with certainty that my answer would have been different, and I do not believe it would feel any remorse regarding.
Who is this now?
You said in this paragraph here that the decision to go to Wisconsin, carrying it a bit further and to a greater extreme, what would I have done if Renee, Jean, or Ann were involved? I can say with certainty that my answer would have been different, and I do not believe I would feel any remorse regarding it. So I was back again to the same circumstance. I so wanted to be rid of, I would tell myself that I was afforded an opportunity to escape, but this somehow I would never put into fruition or fulfillment. I still had the absurd idea that it was my duty to sustain myself here.
Wisconsin never appealed to me.
No, no matter what choices afforded me. I could not think like Steve or Loki or probably Sally. No matter how hard I tried, it was to no avail or to attempt a transformation. I had been home for the service for over 5 years, and many of the memories of the period,
War period.
let's see. I had been home from the service over 5 years, and many memories of that period were sunken into the depths of my subconscious. Your war period. I
Yeah.
would occasionally think of that period when something would trigger an event or person, and it would jog my memory. All in all, I felt like I had spent any time in it. All in all, I felt like I never had spent any time in the service, and all of my life was being greedily consumed by people closest to me and the wretched environment associated with it. From the painful, crowded conditions we endured to were thrust upon one another, making it all seem natural, was the badge we wore and displayed with a quiet acceptance. The cramped two-bedroom cracker house that cost $6,800.
The what?
You say your sentence. The cramped two-bedroom cracker box house that cost $6,800 was still mortgaged when my father died. Was our life, and we did not know any better. It did not seem hectic when I was growing up. It all felt quite natural despite the constant fighting and antagonism that went on there. After my return from the service, it was all brought out in perspective. I had seen how many families lived and how they got along with one another.
See, I was working with my uncle before I went in the service. I went to every factory in town, in Buffalo, Niagara Falls, every dirty factory.
What kind of work did you do?
Graphite, we installed ductwork, installed electrical stuff, and he's self-work.
And so you installed ductwork in these factories?
Huh?
So you installed ductwork in these factories?
Yeah, you get every shit detail of the factories.
And some of the factories were pretty nasty.
Yeah, Carbide was bad, Great Lakes was bad. Some of the chemical factories are bad. You still wear a mask.
2 minutes.
I just wrapped my towels up and said, I'm not coming back. And that was it.
That was at Kimberly Clark, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought Kimberly Clark was warm, cool, and halfway decent.
Compared to the other factories you worked in, right?
Yeah,
Compared to the factories that you worked with your uncle Andy.
yeah.
So you worked in all the factories in the
I
falls.
worked in Buffalo and Niagara Falls, yeah.
So you knew which ones you wanted to work at for regular.
Well, Kimberly Clark was all right, but what the hell was it? One day I wrapped my towels up, left, and I never told nobody. They never called up and said, how come you didn't go to work or nothing? I guess they didn't miss me.
I don't know. Why'd you wrap up your towels and leave?
Huh?
Why'd you wrap up your towels and leave?
That was my towels in the locker I had when I showered.
Why'd you leave?
Huh?
Why did you leave?
Why did I leave? I had enough of it. I said I had enough of it. No, I was doing stuff there that they thought was great. They wanted me to put me in management, and I didn't want to do the stuff they wanted me to do. I said, I'm not going to bust my ass for them. So I wrapped my towels up and just walked out, never said nothing to them. I knew what they were thinking. I said, I'm not going to get into that deal.
So that means you were there for 35 years, right?
Yeah.
30 seconds.
And you never looked back, right?
Huh?
You never looked back.
No, they never called me either.
Well, I don't know. You're hard to get a hold of. Do you remember your home phone number?
No, when they knew where I lived half a block from Kimberly.
Yeah. Maybe it's just...
I wasn't happy. I wasn't upset about it or nothing.
But you moved on, you did a lot better things. You moved on, you did a lot better things.
5 seconds.
I stayed there probably for 35 years, and I think